Well, good morning, everybody. Again, this is Lynn Gardner. Welcome to the Team Excellence Call. I'm calling in today. I'm back in Virginia. It's beautiful. It's cold and it's rainy, but it's a beautiful day no matter what, right? It's all in our attitude, I guess. And I called in last week on my way to Orlando. I went down to the boot camp there. It was a phenomenal event. Just a great event, well put together, great speakers. I met some new friends and got a chance to learn and to recharge, and that's always a really good thing. And I had the honor and the privilege of taking the stage myself, and it's just so humbling to be asked to do that. And so I was really just coming off of a high from that. I took a little time for myself on both ends of this trip, which is really unusual for me. I just am guilty of not decompressing as often as I need to. I just don't do it enough. And so I'm really refreshed and revived for my business. My mind was racing, and I shared with somebody yesterday, I said I drove from Virginia to Florida, but I tell you, I could easily have flown from time to time because I just got so, fired up and about what's in store for me and plans with Enagic, plans, things going on in my life, and I just got really supercharged. So I hope I can share some good things with you today. As I was in Orlando, as is the case, we make new friends and we try to find some personal time, some personal conversations, if you will. A sideline conversation that was had down there inspired my message for you today, and I've entitled this message, Does Your Heart Match the Mission? Some people face life with what I refer to as a half-empty glass. I like to think that my glass is always half full, but some people are more inclined to, kind of take that negative way, if you will, out. And they're so vulnerable, because of it. They're always so vulnerable to thoughts that the grass is greener someplace else. It's the mentality of that type of heart that will sabotage business every single time. If they see the first sign of a challenge or the first sign of some sort of change that they don't agree with, or the first rumor of something else and out there somewhere else, and they're inclined to go south in a heartbeat. It's really kind of sad when you look at it that way. Not only do they question what they have, but they compare what they have to other things. Well, how can we ever find true joy and contentment in life if we're constantly doing that? For these people, their hearts don't match the mission. We hear over and over Mr. Oshiro saying, stop trying to sell water devices. Over and over we hear this, and he could probably say it to us one-on-one every single day, but a lot of people would still struggle with trying to understand what is really meant by that, because obviously we need to push product to make a living. So I think sometimes people don't fully understand what is meant when he says that. And although we have profound products, we truly do, it's not the products that we're selling, but we're selling, a changed life, both physically, financially, spiritually, with a peace of mind. That's what we're about. That's our mission. And having the products or quality products is an added bonus. What we're selling is a changed life. And it's the life changes and the message of hope that we're trying to reinforce. We're reinforcing dreams, if you will. We're kind of in the dream business when you think about it, aren't we? That's what we're selling. And if you don't fully understand that, or if you don't embrace that core mission of Enagic, then you could so easily be swayed in any direction, just like the wind blowing. From here to there, you could be swayed so easily, and you will miss out on success that's intended for you because of it. It's that heart, that attitude that's always looking for greener pastures that will keep us from fulfillment in life. I would hope that if you have a heart for the primary relationship, whether you're married or a significant other, if you have a heart in that relationship, then I would hope that don't always have your eyes open for a replacement at every sign of a challenge or when somebody else passes by. I would hope that your heart makes you committed. If you have children and you encounter a struggle like so many of us do through those teen years, amen, I always say put your seatbelt on when they become teenagers. I would hope that you wouldn't say, well, I'm just going to go look for another one. This one's not perfect, and this one let me down, and this one's not doing everything I think this one should do, so there must be a better one out there somewhere. Come on, guys, we don't do that. If our heart is on board, our attitude and our commitment will follow. And the same foundation is true for our business. Does our heart match our mission? If we aren't on board with the heart, we're going to look for flaws. We're going to focus on flaws, and we're going to listen to anybody out there claiming to have anything or something that we don't have. We're going to be inclined to fall prey to that. And worse yet, we'll listen to negative comments and we'll allow them to fester within our soul. You know, my dad used to say, if you roll around in the mud, you're going to get dirty. What a profound thing for a North Carolina man to say, right? But it's so true that if we're willing to roll around in mud, we're always going to get dirty because of it. You know, this is the first time that I've embraced this industry, you know, network marketing. It's the first time for myself. I haven't been around the block with MLMs. I haven't worked for all these different companies like maybe a lot of you have. You know, I've seen them come and go, and they'll have a new plan and a new product every single time you turn around. And it's really because of that I never put my faith in anything that a lot of people brought to me that they were selling, because I knew that it was just, you know, a lot of hype, or I believed it was just a lot of hype, because I knew that tomorrow it would be replaced with something else, and some other life-changing lotion or potion that I just had to have, it would all be replaced the next day. So how could I really put a whole lot of faith in what they had when it was always changing? You know, for most people, most of these people, if they had rooted themselves into just one of those things, you know, if they had been willing to stay with a solid company, I should preface it by saying that, a solid company with the right mission, they would have already found true success. They wouldn't be bouncing around anymore because they would have already found it, you know, but they simply don't do that. We all know the name Amway. I mean, how do you get through this life and not hear the name Amway, right? And I like to use them as a good example for our mission, and I'll explain to you why. You know, I'd venture to guess that a lot of you on this line, you may have already come and gone from Amway yourself. You know, they used to drive me crazy back in the day. I remember when they were just rolling out, and it seemed like a, you know, invasion of the body snatchers. I mean, like everybody I ran into were trying to get me on board with Amway. You know, so many of my friends jumped on board, and they were so fired up about the dream and the freedom message. It was almost like a revival. It was crazy. You know, I looked at it, and I looked at their ways and their means of finding that freedom, if you will, and I ran as fast as I could. I mean, I could not imagine having garages full of soap and buying products that maybe I didn't even like, you know. It all just conceptually looked so ridiculous to me. But, you know, years later, I had the opportunity to get to know very well two of the top leaders with Amway. I don't know ranks or not. I don't know what they call them, but you know, two of the top leaders in the company, and I came to know them through real estate, believe it or not, through the auction business. You know, when you're selling something unique, like for instance a Picasso, you sell it through auction to maximize the price you get for it. And their homes were tremendously luxurious, and so that's the method that we were using. So I got to know them through business, and I tell you, these people are great people of integrity, huge hearts. I liked them right away. And although it's been over 10 years since we first met over their real estate, we're still in touch today. But you know, I'm an inquisitive kind of person. So when I meet people and I have a chance to talk to them about what they do, I'm just so inquisitive about, you know, what makes them tick and how does that work, you know, in fact, to a fault sometimes when I'm trying to prospect. But I was so inquisitive, and so I wanted to know everything about their journey. You know, we had the ample time to do that. And I remember each one of them telling me about how they had great products, but that wasn't their mission at all. And it was kind of perplexing, you know, but they went on to talk about what they were about is freedom and changing lives and offering hope, and that there is a huge spiritual component with their company, and as there is with ours. We all know that Amway has had issues over the years. They haven't gone anywhere. They are solid as a rock today. In fact, they're still recruiting a lot of people. I come in touch with young people all the time that will say to me, have you ever heard of Amway? And I'm like, oh my gosh, second generation, you know. But we know they've had issues over the years. Mostly those issues, if you read about them, were brought on by distributors making claims, by the way. It wasn't that they had some horrible product that made people sick or anything like that you might think. If you look at the issues over the years, distributors have made some claims about finances or something, and people fired back legally. So, you know, those are really the issues that they've seen. And I'm sure that they've had big leaders come and go over the years. I've met a couple, actually, but the company still thrives no matter what. I'm sure that there have been products, you know, that have outperform their products at some point, some better than what they have, but they never waver from what they stand for. They don't sell products. You know, the successful guys stayed focused. The guys like these two guys that I know stayed focused no matter what, and they stayed excited about the mission that they're on, about changing lives. They didn't fret over the latest and the greatest soap suds, and they didn't roll around in the mud and get dirty when things got challenging. They stayed with the mission. And as I had discussion with them, and I would be dissecting their journey, I mentioned a few other companies to them, you know, because a few that I had heard through friends or whatever, and I asked them, you know, well, how do you work compared to them, you know? They didn't engage in one single sentence that was of a competitive nature at all. In fact, I don't remember the exact words, but I do know that each one of them said something complimentary about the company that I brought up. They took the high road. They reinforced their missions without any negative comments at all. And these friends of mine, they started out early in the company. They're still with them today. They've gained incredible wealth because of it. You know why? Their hearts match the mission. And so does your heart match our mission? You know, we are growing, and we are growing fast and hard. I mean, now is the time for you to take, not to take a half-empty glass mentality, okay? Now's the time, not the time for you to be looking elsewhere. Now's the time to be laser focused and to reap the benefits that have been, you know, building and building over the years with Enagic. Now's the time. It's the perfect time, the perfect storm. You know, in every single company ever known to mankind, nobody is exempt, will experience a few challenges here and there as they grow. Every company will. You know, that the weaker company or that startup company often fails when growth happens. They don't fail necessarily because they're underfunded in general. They fail because when they start growing a little bit, they can't keep up. They can't afford to adapt to the growth. But solid companies like Enagic, they just roll up their sleeves and get busy adjusting for the growth. They start speeding up product manufacturing as best they can, and they start adding to the staff to answer calls in a more timely fashion, things like that. You know, but those things that we're hearing about, oh gosh, you know, we have K8s back ordered, or oh my goodness, I had to stay on hold for an hour. Let me tell you something, guys. If you know anything about business, you know these problems are a good sign for a solid company. They're not bad signs. Growth is always good, and adapting is just a matter of time for a well-grounded company, and we all know that Enagic is a well-grounded company. So whatever it takes to adapt to change absolutely will happen. We're solid, we're proven, and we'll get through all of them. It's not a time to roll around in the mud and get dirty. Growth is never flawless. Individually, as we grow, you know, our companies, our families, whatever, growth is never flawless, you know, and to think otherwise, frankly, is delusional. So how many people will whine throughout that process? How many people will allow those challenges to become a half-empty glass mentality? How many people will lose their focus and lose their income because they're so busy focusing on challenges that frankly are not a big deal? How many people will listen to nonsense that we're producing inferior products, you know, and that we're cutting corners and not able to keep up? Guys, those things are not true. You know, you're just simply seeing growth patterns that are going to take a little bit of work to get through. And the answer to the how many people question is everybody who doesn't have a heart that matches our mission can fall prey to any of those things. And, you know, you and I might be one of them if we're not careful. Again, we're taking the market by storm. We are growing in leaps and bounds. Of course there are going to be other companies making some other product, and they're going to try to get a piece of that pie. That's business. I mean, remember when the iPhone came out and everybody was just mesmerized by this technology. You know, it's not like there aren't other phones that operate like the iPhone, guys. You know, with the exception of having more applications, Apple applications. Hey, my phone is superior to an iPhone all day long. You know, of course there are going to be people that do that. That's the way of the world. We're in the midst of a massive paradigm shift over water, how people think about water, or how they're thinking about their health. The timing is perfect for all of us. Of course there are going to be other people that are going to try to do that too. To think that there will never be any other product at some point in time that's close to what we have is also delusional. That's just the way business works. But if we use that, going back to that Amway as an example, it doesn't matter. None of that matters if we're on the right mission. But no matter what they do, no matter what the other companies produce, no matter how fast they run, no matter how many people they recruit, they will never, ever catch up to 42 years of excellence. Ever. It's not possible. No matter what they say, no matter what they claim, they'll talk about cost, and we have a better product and a lower cost, everything associated with that. Taking a product to market is all the same, frankly. You know, if we're talking apples and apples, if there's really at some point in time a unit that matches apples for apples with the, you know, the excellence that we have, then the cost is always going to be the same. You know why? Because if you don't understand what it takes in money to take a product to market, the packaging, the distribution, the marketing, the sales, everything that it takes to take a product to market is the same. So whether they spend it that way or they spend it paying people like you and me to do the heavy lifting in sales and marketing, it really doesn't matter. It's always going to be the same. So you can't fall prey to those conversations. You know, you can manufacture, for example, as many Volkswagens that look like Jaguars all you want to, but they'll never catch up and they'll never be able to perform in the same way no matter what. Again, we have 42 years of excellence to catch up with. So the question is, does your heart match the mission? Or are you inclined to roll around in the mud and get dirty? You know, my biggest desire is for your heart to match our mission, and that your belief be unshakable no matter what. You know, people that know me well know that, you know, I've got a lot of faults, guys, no doubt about that. But one thing about me is when I'm on board with someone personally, with my family, with friends, you know, when I'm on board with something, I'm loyal to a fault, and I'll fight like a, you know, a mother bear. I just stand for what I believe in, and I believe in this wholeheartedly. You know, so my heart matches that mission, and I want that for you too. You know, now's the time. You know, you have a solution in your hands to change your life. That's our slogan, and it's true. You have a company of integrity. You have a proven player. You have superior products, for heaven's sake. You know, we have an unbeatable compensation plan. We have hundreds and hundreds of kindred spirits to work with out there. You know, people on this phone, people that we know in our business, you know. Will you let challenges steal your future? Will you let it steal your dream? Will you have that kind of unfaithful type of spirit that, you know, looks for the grass to be greener? You know, I hear so many comments about people, you know, leaders in our business, if you will, that are leaving and going elsewhere. You know what? Who cares? I feel bad for them. If anything, I don't get mad. I don't feel threatened. I don't look at it and say, wow, what do they know that I don't know? I feel bad for them because they're falling prey to that. The grass is greener. There's some, you know, rainbow with a pot of gold if they'll just move to one more company and do one more thing. And my guess is most of those people are going to come back, you know, and we'll see them again one day. But it doesn't really matter. It's sad, and it's an unfaithful or a shakable kind of spirit. So does your heart match the mission? You know, again, that's my greatest desire for everybody on this call, and I know wholeheartedly what I have, and I'm so grateful that, you know, I was teasing on the early pre-call, if you will, with Pat, and talking about how hard it was to get me on board. I didn't come into this easily, guys. I'd never been in this business before. I fought it tooth and nail. But when I finally embraced it, when it finally got my heart matches this mission. And it's often said that until we get our business from our head to our heart, we're never going to see our full potential. And so that's what I want for everybody. You're going to see growth. You're going to see challenges. You might stay on hold for an hour, and you're going to hear about all kinds of crazy products out there. But if we take that same mentality as my friends that I've met, those Amway people, that it really doesn't matter. You stay so laser focused on our mission, spreading true health globally with compassion. If you can stay focused on that, nothing else that happens out there will ever matter. We're too far ahead. We're too proven. We're too stable. We're a company of excellence. So does your heart match your mission? That's the message today. And I would hope that you're having some struggles, that you reevaluate yourself and reevaluate what you have. And, you know, there's no better way to become refreshed and revived, if you will, than to be on calls like this, and to be sure you show up for meetings. Surround yourself, you know, with people of integrity in our business. To just, if you're having doubt, you can gain strength from that. But whatever you do, don't get your eye off of this mission. You'll regret it forever if you do. And so keep your eye on your why. Get that heart filled up. Be loyal and faithful, and be celebrating what we have. And I'll see you guys at the top, and I'll see you next Thursday. Make it a great day. Bye-bye.